right?
You gotta take attendance again, buddy.
Okay. I think we're
Wait,
good.
my prior joke didn't get under the,
So we have an excused
I remember.
absence from one of our commissioners.
you go to the trail, you think.
Agenda approval. Does anyone want to move to approve tonight's agenda?
I move to approve.
Okay, do we have a second? Heather, was that a second? All right, all those in favor of the agenda tonight? Aye.
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 All right, so we're moving ahead with agenda approval. Public comments. Do we have any public comments? 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. We don't see anyone hovering for public comments or weighing in, so we will move on to the council liaison reports from our illustrious council member.
Yeah, I'm really excited that we, as a council, passed Agenda Bill 023 something or other. Because the Parks and Public Works people decided to pre-order the equipment for the and structure for the all-inclusive park ahead of time, which is going to save us a truckload of money. And I'm always excited anytime actually, I shouldn't say anytime, I should say every time, because it's over and over again. Parks and Public Works makes smart decisions to reorder projects or stack projects or do things to save us money and save us time. This is going to save us time in getting the all-inclusive park at Centennial built, because it gets the order moving faster than having the people putting it together order it for us. It also saves us money because we don't have to deal with the markup that would inevitably occur. So brilliant move by Parks and Public Works. I assume by somebody under Mike Chambliss, who made a smart decision. But very excited about that. And the progress over at Riverview Park is also really exciting. That's trucking right along, and it'd be great if this commission could just schedule some dry weather for the surfacing.
Oh, easy.
Could you guys, if you guys could put something together for that, that'd be great.
Okay,
I think that's a council level decision.
Is that council
I
level?
believe so.
Well, I'm the liaison. I'm just saying, we wanted to kick it down to these guys
Okay.
to take care of that.
you want me to go out there personally and surface it?
I know. I just want you to schedule the dry weather. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the easy part.
That's
Well,
right.
you can't do it. You can't do it on your own. It's got to be a vote.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, lots of great things happening with parks. So super excited about that.
It seems like things are moving along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. Anything else on your mind or?
Nothing else that I wanted to bring up. I just wanted to highlight that good stuff.
Okay, great. So moving on to minutes, approval of the minutes dated from February 21st. Does anybody want to make a move to approve the minutes from February 21st?
I'll make a move to approve it.
My second.
All right, and we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you kindly. Regular business. Current facility use fees discussion. And I think this was from, did I pipe up about this a couple of months ago or something? I can't remember, or somebody did it.
Someone did. So I believe these are the current fees. I'm having a little difficulty confirming that, but I believe this is the last action the council took, and it was back in like 2011 to set these fees. They set fees for litany of activities and locations and things.
So Mike, when there's a baseball practice or something, is that paid by like Little League? How does that work?
We hope so.
How do we know?
That's.
I mean, I've coached
That
for
is the
years, I have no
difficulty.
idea.
So our processes are broken in the city and we're currently trying to get them repaired. Somebody just moved into a position a month ago that I'll be able to ask. Their job is to bill and make sure our revenues are being collected.
Okay,
I don't know if revenues have been collected from Little League the last few years.
is that Jamie?
It's Tammy.
Okay.
It's my, I recall very vividly that we had last done a fees update like around 2017 or 2018.
Okay.
Nicole, do you have a memory of?
Yes.
Were you,
Yes.
you
Yes, I
were here
do.
when we,
Yeah.
okay,
So for everybody that's new, including Mike Chambliss, I believe that the standard or the best practice, whatever it was in the Parks Public Works Department, Joan Quaid every year would just go through all of the fees and I think just do like a flat 3 or 4 or 5% across the board. And I remember, Paul, we talked about this in probably 2019 when we were meeting in the police station. And we talked about it and we evaluate, Joan would look at where we were at compared to other cities. So that is how, yeah, every year we would kind of try to, I think she would try to stay current with that, but I don't know what happened during COVID. And then as far as a comparison of other cities in 2019, I know I collected a lot of information from other cities, comparable cities, and gave that to our city management analyst. And as a city, we were starting to work on it literally in February and March of 2020. And then we all know what happened with that. But that is what I know about fees. And as far as, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So we are budgeted and there is a project to update the fees this year.
okay,
The finance department is leading that effort. And that work is just now getting lined up to start beginning. They are bringing a consultant. The consultant will be meeting with me and my department. And we're actually going to measure the amount of effort it takes to prepare ball fields so we can determine the actual cost, not necessarily to charge the actual cost to the sport teams, but to provide that information to the city council, at which point the city council can make the decision whether or not the activity will be subsidized.
okay,
If I knew when I was coaching at the youngest level, if I knew there's a damage deposit, I would have taken a lot more disciplinary actions against those kids digging with their cleats.
So our fields are not in great shape. It was my ardent desire to have at least the T-ball fields in good shape come this season. It did not happen for a variety of reasons. We are doing Carmichael. So I am getting Carmichael put back together. The dirt arrived today. We're having difficulty tracking down bases this late in the game, but I have a lead on some bases even. So Carmichael will be in good shape, but yes, moving forward, we need to look at that. I'm going to reach out to T-balls, to the Little League and have a conversation with them. It is easier for us to repair a dirt infield. A grass infield that gets damaged will be damaged through the season because we cannot close the area to reseed and repair in the middle of baseball season because they got to continue to play. So if there's damage to a dirt infield, then it's a simple matter of us going out there and planting some dirt. We don't have to wait for it to germinate and grow and get hardy.
Yeah, like
So-
grass is really tough because they start practicing at the end of February.
Yeah.
So can't fix grass then.
So my recommendation, well, to them and request to them would be to change for the fields to dirt infields, Azalea, Stellar, some of the others. So that would be a summer project.
Ethan?
Yeah, and I'd say for those younger kids, a ball game on a grass infield is just dumb. You know, if you're playing T-ball game on a grass field, it just
It kills
kills the ball.
speed of
There's
the ball,
no,
yeah.
there's no baseball happening. It's just picking up dead balls anyway. I think,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, my kids have played softball when they were little or T-ball at Stellar, and it's just not a fun game. It's not an interesting game.
So that's my goal, is to make them dirt infields that we can maintain in a better condition.
I like it.
And going forward, but the finance department is taking a full look at the
Okay.
fees, and this is a process that we're going through. And it kind of rolls into the next item on the agenda.
Does it make sense, I know that I've held on to all of my old agendas. And I could ferry through some of my old agendas and find where we left off with the fees. The discussion and the numbers that we were at, and all that, would it be helpful to do some? kind of collective-
I don't think so at this
Oh,
point.
okay.
I think we need to go back to basics and actually
Okay.
determine what the actual cost is in today's dollar to prep a field.
Right,
And start with that as our baseline, rather than any of the previous data, which may or may not have been corrupted through years of
okay,
So,
manipulation.
Mike, off the top of your head, which fields the city prep, like Centennial, Stellar,
Centennial,
Carmichael?
yeah, it depends on what it is, but we're prepping fields all over the
Mhm.
place. Community for soccer or lacrosse, Jeannie Hansen, I mean, Jeannie Hansen's less of a prep on the artificial, but we still prep the natural side. So yeah, there's a lot of field prep. In fact, that's pretty much all the parks
And then-
department does, is mow and prep.
And then
For the
if
next
it's
few months.
if it's a school, that's when volunteers are prepping it, right?
It depends. We do the prep for the junior high.
Okay,
So one of the things that I'm working on right now is this will roll under current facility use, and if you need to kick me into the table, go ahead. I don't want to get off the agenda, but one of the things we're doing right now is establishing a book that my staff has, Joan has, and will be published online, that says, okay, I want field 1 at Centennial, and I want it set up number, or set up letter C,
mhm,
because those are the distances I want from the pitcher's mound and
mhm.
all that. That way there's streamlined communication for the people that are out there prepping it. Because we've had situations where they thought they were prepping for high school, but it turned out they were prepping for T-ball or vice versa.
Mhm.
It's always a mess, so. And that rolls also into the second item on the agenda. Well, the fourth item on the agenda.
does anyone else want to weigh in or have any questions? On this item? Okay. Thank you, Mike, and I guess we'll move on to the next one, online reservation system.
So all this work we're doing is to get to an online reservation system. The city is transitioning currently for our financial software from a software called Springbrook to a software called Munis, which is by Tyler Technologies. The advantage with the Munis is it's not only a financial software, it's actually a governance software package. It's going to handle accounts receivables, time cards, public works work orders, finances, budgeting, everything's in there in different modules. It's a process to roll that out, a significant process. We're talking 2.5 years. And not only are people learning a whole new way to do their job, they have to continue to do their job the way they've been doing it. And as you know, our benches are not deep.
Mhm.
The council has been very supportive of this. They provided extra staff when needed. It's not my turn yet. Currently, it's finance department's turn, and there've been several temporary staff brought into finance to keep the lights on while finance is trying to wrestle this whole new thing. We looked at doing online reservations this summer. But it was decided to wait until after that new program is in place and to use that new program to do it. If we did it the other way, it would have been through a third party and it would have added complexity and it didn't necessarily work with the new software. So we are waiting for Tyler prior to do that. So it will be at least one more year before we do that. That doesn't mean we're not preparing for it. So as I said, we're starting to, I am starting to prepare the information that needs to go into that online reservation system to make it a lot more streamlined and everybody knows what they're buying. So it's coming soon.
Keeping the ball rolling while learning something new. Juggling act.
Yeah, I have an advantage because I've used Tyler for 20 years in my previous city, so.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Mike?
I do. Mike, is there any way in the meantime, between now and the year plus potentially for this online reservation system, for it to be a little more easy to reserve fields?
I don't think so because the infrastructure is just not in place to support it. I would like, if it's possible for you offline to reach out to me and let me know where the difficulties are, because I'm not aware of them.
Okay, well, the last time I tried to reserve a field for our baseball team, it took about 2.5 weeks to, and I had to go down to Joan and get a piece of paper and then bring money. So it was 2.5 weeks, and my husband was pretty much laughing at the situation. He couldn't believe that it was that poorly organized. I mean,
Well,
I did it because we needed to do it, but 2.5 weeks to get a field reserved was a little bit much. And we haven't done it since then. But yeah.
One thing, we are analog at Public Works. My staff does not have computers. We have about 8 computers in the department. We're in the process of getting them all computers, and the IT department is working through that backlog. And I finally got them physically here. There's 40 computers in my office, but they're not set up, and IT is working to set them up. So we do operate off pen and paper, and we're lucky it's not slate and charcoal. I'm serious. We are the 1800s out there at the Public Works Department, and you have my apologies. I don't know why it took 2 weeks. It should not have. I can follow up with Joan when I see her later in the week and determine what's going on, but yeah.
I think she just got behind, and I think she was on vacation for like 3 of the days, but it seemed, yeah.
Clearly, there's something that needs to be followed up on there, it seems.
I will certainly do that when I can.
Thanks, Heather. That's valuable input. Does anyone else have any comments or thoughts? It sounds like things are rolling along and you're trying to upgrade, so. Okay, so let's move on to the next item, which is bylaws finalization. And I was able, after a month of drama with my mom being sick, able to finally get this in on Friday afternoon. The edits that the group had asked me to parcel through. We were using the Bellingham Planning Commission as our model. And what I think I'll just do is go through the different articles here, that some of which we had spoken about last month. And there were a couple others that caught my eye that were just to be brought up as a question about whether or not, how are those addressed, or what do we want the language to look like. This is definitely a wordsmithing exercise. There's no perfect way to do it. I've worked with codes and municipal codes and bylaws in the past before, and I can explain as I go along some of what was going on in my mind and see if it jives with the rest of the group. I was looking at Article 2 of the official meeting place because we're in a hybrid scenario now. And so one of the things we're able to get away with when we write these are your best friend is the semicolon. And you can get a little bit run-on sentence-ish with these. So what I have listed or called out here is the official meeting place of the commission shall be in the council chambers of City Hall in Snoqualmie, Washington. Now, I realize that we don't typically meet in the council chambers, but I just use that as a designated location for starters. Even though we'll be lucky if we meet in the actual council chambers once every couple of years. I know that we have before once or twice. So semicolon, continuing the location discussion in the language, or in a pre-designated city facility / meeting space, which would be here in the, I don't know what this room is called, conference. Mount Si room. So that, the thought there with that language is that umbrellas the current physical meeting space that we are in. Semicolon, once again, and or by virtual attendance. So that covers the virtual instrument. So all meetings shall be held except on such occasions and in such times as the commission may, by a majority vote of those present at any regular or special meeting, direct otherwise. Does anybody have any thoughts about how that language is laid out? I'm just, again, kind of being a little bit run-on sentence-ish with the semicolons and trying to cover all the bases and allow for flexibility of the group. There might be a time in the future where we meet back at the police station. So or in a pre-designated city facility meeting space, it would kind of cover all those physical locations was my thought process. And then the virtual attendance instrument at the end of the sentence.
Did you guys already take care of Article 1 in a previous document, or what is Article 1? Was that like the mission statement, or
do you have
It starts at Article 2 is what he's asked.
well, these are only the areas where I did any edits. And so I don't have the Bellingham Commission document in front of me, but there's some overall language coming from the Planning Commission document that's going to need to be modified just so it's not Bellingham and a Planning Commission and it's us.
So to clarify between you two, the Article 2, Article 3, those are from Bellingham. That's from their language.
This
their
is
document.
This is borrowing the Bellingham. This is cherry-picked articles where we're proposing modifications to the language from the Bellingham document.
So like the Article 2 references actual Bellingham's document, not ours.
This is language borrowed from the Bellingham document.
This is Article 2.
This of their document.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
I just want to make sure you guys were clear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you go ahead?
I would think you should just take out council chambers and just have us say, shall be at City Hall.
Okay. Shall be
At City Hall
shall be at City Hall.
in Snoqualmie, Washington. or in a pre-designated city facility meeting space. And or by virtual attendance.
Okay. Why be specific if you don't have to be with
Well,
council chambers?
I mean, it's unlikely to ever be in council chambers, honestly, because we have council meetings and
Right. So she's proposed that we take out the city hall component,
no, the council chamber.
I mean, the council chambers component.
I'm good with that.
All right, anyone else have any thoughts on the language? Okay. Again, I cherry picked from. I didn't want to recreate the entire document of the planning commission for Bellingham, so I just cherry picked from it. Now, Article 3 membership, did you think that you said that a ordinance or there was
The code,
a city code that covered that?
yeah,
Okay,
the code covers the number of members and for the term length, which is 4 years.
okay. The term length is 4 years.
Uh-huh.
So then we can scratch out. Essentially the first two sentences there. And then in there, I recall a conversation at some point in the last few months about consecutive chair terms. Do we feel like that needs to be called out in this, that there may not be more than 2 consecutive chair terms?
That's a mayor's preference.
Okay,
It's not in the code, so.
it's not in the code. So there had been some feedback from the mayor in the last couple months that no member shall serve no more than 2 consecutive terms as chair. And
I think you need to get rid of that second no if you want the meaning to work.
no member shall serve, eliminate no, more than 2 consecutive terms as chair. So that specifically targets the chair position.
I don't think she's targeting it. I think.
No, I'm talking about the language. I'm not talking about the mayor's intent when I said that. I was talking about my fingers on the keyboard.
Got it.
Sorry about that.
Just want to make sure you can sleep at night. The mayor's not targeting.
So if we're following the language there, let's play out a scenario. So you can have person X serve 2 consecutive terms, and then if the group wishes accordingly, person X after those 2 terms would either be a regular member or coach. It doesn't eliminate that person from being co-chair.
That's correct.
Okay,
But is there such thing as a position of co-chair?
which was,
It's a vice chair.
that was going to be a matter I brought up in the next article under elective officers.
Okay.
So are you all following me there, that this is not targeting, but this is focused specifically on the chair position. That was the intent of the language. We just have a small group. We only have 5 of us, not there's turnover. not everybody is up for wanting to serve as chair or co-chair as it exists right now. And so we want the flexibility there was my thought, so. Article 4, elective officers. This is. Did someone have something? Okay. This is where the co-chair language, for me, in my 30 years in city government, or around city government, is a little bit confusing. I wanted to throw up some discussion about whether or not we should change the co-chair name to a vice chair or a deputy chair to maybe try to clarify the roles.
I've never heard of a co-chair. It should definitely be vice chair.
Yeah, co-chair makes it seem like it's the same position, just handles 50%.
That makes it look like Heather's really slacking on the job, so. Right? She didn't hear me.
No, she did. She just,
Yeah,
She's
no,
just
I-
ignoring me.
she's not
I think
entertained.
she did, and you're glad she's not sitting all right now.
Not at all. Co-chair, yes, co-chair is rather confusing, and so do we want to just helicopter vice chair into the co-chair position? How does everyone feel about that? All right,
yeah.
okay.
That's
I'm
good.
good. I'm good with it.
And so every year, we will elect a chair position and a vice chair position.
And that's what the code says.
And that's what the code says, okay? So are we being redundant then, or?
Yeah.
Okay, but redundancy is fun, isn't it?
But it doesn't say anything about the 2-year thing consecutive, so.
It does not. The mayor's just, her interest is to try to get people through
Okay.
because, this is the training ground for future council folk.
True.
And I agree with that. I think that it should be mixed up and no one person should be leading the group that long, so.
How long have you been doing this?
I like sometime around COVID, but I'm looking forward to giving up the chair position to another eager person in the group, so. I think I took over for somebody who had resigned and my brain's a little bit foggy on that, so. Article 4, transaction of business. I think this was just general cleanup language. Quorum is 3 members. 3 members of the spec shall constitute a quorum. I just wanted to call that out to make sure that wasn't, was addressed. And then number 2, attendance. I just want to make sure that we're all in agreement on how this should read. Attendance is expected of each commission member at all regular and special meetings. In the event that a member must miss a meeting, communication with the chair or executive secretary shall take place prior to the meeting. We want that to be an and/or do we care?
Doesn't need to be an and/or.
I think
Okay.
we should just call it in staff liaison, not executive secretary.
Okay,
And also the quorum is in the code also, so you're repeating what's in the code.
okay. Staff liaison and not executive secretary.
We don't have any executive secretaries.
Shall take place prior to the meeting. If a member is absent from 4 or more meetings in the span of 12 calendar months, and then I threw in there regardless of meeting frequency. And I threw that in because there are, to clarify the fact that we may not have 12 meetings in a calendar year, and we usually do not, because we don't have one in December. And we usually don't have one in the summertime when people are on vacation.
And those wouldn't count as absences.
And those wouldn't count as absent, so I was trying to clarify that. 12 calendar months regardless of meeting frequency, and I want to make sure it's clear the way it's reading. A recommendation for removal from the commission may be forwarded to the mayor. Is that language too strong, or is it accurate, and we want the thread of teeth in there, kind of, sort of, not the thread, but the.
You want the mayor targeting them.
It's okay to sound like there's consequences to not showing up. It's okay.
Yes, but we're in a civic environment, and we,
It's okay.
we,
People can get fired.
okay.
Invited to leave.
Any thoughts on how that reads? So missing 4 meetings in a calendar year. I'm still a little bit foggy on where excused versus unexcused absences come in. If this policy was in place going into tonight's meeting, for example, would our commissioner who had a requested excused absence, would that be 1 missed meeting on the notch for that person? Just as an example.
I think with all things they can be overthought and over analyzed. I think that leaving the language as such would leave you the latitude that if they requested excused absences from the next 6 meetings in a row, obviously there's a problem.
Right, that's when if they're gone for a certain number, that's when we say, hey, let's take a vote on this. Do we forward this up to the mayor or not for potential dismissal?
And excused, unexcused, the fact of the matter is people are absent.
Like our gentleman that's gone tonight, he did so much work before the last meeting. I'll give him a couple passes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, well, that's the other end of it, is so at some point as a body, would we trigger the recommendation to the mayor?
Yes.
Is that clear in the language, or should that be in the language?
It's clear.
Yeah, I think it's good as is.
It's clear.
Regardless of meeting frequency, a recommendation for removal from the commission, okay, maybe may be forwarded to the mayor. When I was a planner, I put required in the language, and I got my hand slapped because you can't require,
Yeah.
So may versus will, right? May, so let's leave our options open. Any thoughts? Are we good with this?
Sounds
Again,
good.
I cherry picked sections of this document from the planning commission, and there is some overall language throughout that document that obviously needs to be modified, like Bellingham needs to be changed to Snoqualmie, and the planning part of commission needs to be dropped in the helicoptering of the language into what we're doing in sort of a finalized format. Is that who's working on dolling that up and buttoning that up?
Can certainly take care of that.
Okay. So this is sort of a specific language marrying into that kind of work that you're doing. Okay. I think we probably want to take a vote on these bylaws language modifications. Do we need a vote?
Until you have a complete document.
Not until we have a complete document. Okay. Any last thoughts? Okay. Thanks for going over the details. All right. So,
Well, thanks. You did a good job getting us to the darn near finish line.
well, I almost wasn't able to do it because I was stuck in Linwood for 2.5 weeks. So occupied with other things. I was dealing
They would have
with,
excused
so
you.
I think I would have been fired, targeted and then fired.
You would have recommended for dismissal.
Just press the eject button. Thank you, everyone, for your patience with that. Okay, moving on to special events updates. Nicole, is that you?
That would be me.
All right.
My dog's saying hi. Let's see, what do we got going on? We're getting, April's gonna be where the action is gonna start. We've got the egg hunts coming, so on Friday, the 6th or 7th, I should know this date off the top of my head, is the teen flashlight hunt, which will be at Community Park. That's gonna be the 7th. So that's the teen event, partnership with the homeowners association. And on Saturday will be the little kids hunt at Centennial Park. So I call it teens and toddlers. That's what we do. And that will be on the 8th. And then the downtown merchants will be doing kids picking up eggs downtown after the bunny hop egg hunt on Saturday. A bit of a teaser. Phil is going to be doing an Arbor Day activity at the Riverview Park.
Oh, fun, yes.
Yeah, the playground. Oh, Councilman Benson, I'm glad you, was that you that just said that? Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Okay, and that wasn't sarcasm. That was true emotion, wasn't it?
When am I ever sarcastic?
Oh, a lot, but it's awesome. He's gonna, I think, talk to you tomorrow at tomorrow's meeting, and just a bit of a teaser. Maybe if there's a way we could involve some of your students, that might be nice. So just
That would
think
be
about-
cute.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'll be getting the information out this week. But we will, every year, we brought it back last year, we do a volunteer recognition event, and you guys are volunteers. And that's going to be Thursday, April 20th, which happens to be National Volunteer Week. And the 20th is National Volunteer Day. And we'll be doing that in the evening at Snoqualmie Inn. So more information to come from you guys. You'll get invited, but hope you can attend. It's just the thing that we do to say thank you for all that you do. Looking at my calendar in April, I think that's it for yeah, what's coming up. Any questions?
Yeah, Nicole, I have a question for you
Yeah, sure.
about the egg hunt. So the egg hunt, so there's the egg hunt for the little kids and there's the teen flashlight events. What age group do you typically have for the teen flashlight events? Do you have like 13, 14s? Do you ever have like 18-year-olds show up?
You know, it's mainly a tween. I'll say it's definitely that, 11, 12. I think last year we might have had some 15 or 16-year-olds. I think there were some people that might have driven themselves, but most people were being dropped off by mom and dad. That's okay.
I guess that's more specific because I know like I have a 10-year-old, so he definitely wouldn't go to the little kid event because he'd get funny looks, but I'd be inclined to send him to the teen event though. Is that okay?
I think so. I mean, if he feels comfortable, yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm giving out things that only a 14-year-old can enjoy, pop and Pringles and candy. I think all ages, like that stuff. And it's dark. No one's going to be able, I won't be checking IDs. So show me your ASB card or you can't come in.
Okay.
It's a black market for fake ASB cards. Watson's in the elementary schools.
Yeah, good times, good times.
Sounds good. Nicole, I have a question for you. This is for you or anybody in the room. Do you have any experience, or do you know if the city has any experience with some sort of organized trash pickup around town?
We don't. Interestingly, though, last year we honored at the volunteer event. His name is Brian Carlisle. I think maybe some people see him. Heather's nodding her head. He's an amazing individual, and he is proclaimed like litter patrol man. And I cannot remember his statistics, but he goes out there all by himself and has
Is
picked
this
up.
the guy that hikes up and down the parkway picking up trash? And
Yeah.
I've seen that guy before.
Yeah,
That
he's
guy's
really,
awesome.
it's amazing. And so last year I reached out to him and got like his statistics, and he got an award, and actually had a meeting today with the Valley Record. And I told the editor about him, and I need to pass on his information because I think it's worthy of celebrating. But I also think that those of you that live in the community, look, you've all kind of seen him and you're like, oh, that's who it is. You know, that's his name. And he's a dad, he works full time, but he's just committed to this. And we don't have staff that's committed to it. When I worked for the city of Redmond, we had one staff person and that was their job. But when that person retired, they didn't fill that job. And he had a little Ford Ranger pickup and he went around and did all that stuff. So what Brian does is really valuable. Mike Chambliss, are you aware of him? Have you run into him or talked with him in your time?
I believe I manufactured a golden litter stick for him.
That's right. My gosh, my memory. That's right. We did do that for him.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I asked because the potpourri of adjectives that could come out of my mouth when my jaw drops and I'm down, especially like near the riverbank area and the properties down there. I'm just like, wow, is there something we can do in a more organized fashion to address the trash?
Are you referring to the house that we often internally call the White House? It's the first house you see as you're going into downtown.
I'm not targeting.
No. Yeah, this is true. There's some action going on that house, so you might see some relief from that.
I believe I was referring to the FEMA lots.
The coffee drive-through stand, it's just things I notice. It isn't any one property. I just notice it consistently kind of in the properties that are adjacent to the river area, and for obvious reasons, those are properties that are affected. But just in a general sense, it seems like we can do better. And that it shouldn't fall on just one guy who's being the community hero, bless his heart. But it was just something I just wanted to kind of bubble to the surface and just see what was on everyone's mind with that and what we had done in the past with that. Do the prisoners still come out?
Yeah, that's true.
Is there that, or is that not a thing anymore?
The Department of Corrections has a very limited area that they can work,
Gotcha.
and they are working in it.
Okay.
Not to say that because you guys are the Parks and Trails Commission, but that could be maybe an outreach activity that you guys could work on. I could help you with that. Maybe it's something next month in like with Arbor Earth Day, or maybe we could do some messaging and do a community outreach thing. I know next month is short time, but that could be something that we could try to work together. Although I'm not designating you guys as, the litter commission,
Right.
but something to consider.
Well, or at least masterminded and figure out what exactly does it look like, and what would, if we did increase our involvement in an endeavor like that, what that might look like, I guess.
Yeah, I've said it before, I'm a broken record. I live in Redmond Bridge, so kind of a sister community to Snoqualmie, and our ROA, they have a litter patrol group that's community. One of our board members, it's been a passionate project, although I think she moved away, but it's been going on for years. And they bring the kids out and they do it. They give them litter pickers. And then they started even giving them community service hours, or they started saying, here's gift cards. But it really did it. It did a good job. And I've mentioned that to the ROA, and I don't know, nothing's come of it, but it's hard to activate people sometimes.
Sure.
But that's a success story from a sister community that, had some success in that.
See some examples.
Mm-hmm.
I know I absconded the end of the special events update there with the litter discussion. Does anybody else have any thoughts on the litter concerns or any efforts potentially involving that? Maybe it's something we can come back to in a couple meetings and just maybe explore if we actually do have some sort of role there potentially. So, thanks. For future discussion, commission purpose and direction. And I looked at that and I was trying to remember, where did that get brought up at a recent meeting?
Well, that was an email from Commissioner Vermeulen.
Okay,
He sent that email just asking to put it on there, and I don't know if you recall that email.
okay. So commission purpose and direction for future discussion. I know that maybe there's a we just did the mission statements. But maybe this gets into more detail beyond that, and I would be
Do you want me to read the email?
yeah, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Is this for,
Or it is for future discussion.
yeah,
For the next agenda, yeah, or on future agenda. Yeah, I'd also like to add under agenda item for future discussion, the topic of commission purpose and direction. It would be beneficial to hear from all commission members regarding why they joined the commission, what they see our purpose is, and what they hope to accomplish during their tenure. Of the current commission members, Paul and Heather have a lot of experience. And so do Emily and Ryan. Being new, it would be beneficial, he says.
Right on, absolutely. So we could probably pick his brain, make that an agenda item that he's here for, and he could weigh in a little bit more on what his thoughts are.
Would you like to put that on the next meeting agenda?
Thoughts on adding throwing some shapes at the commission purpose and direction as an agenda item? Are you up for that?
I'm good with that.
Laying out your soul on why you joined the group?
I mean, I'll find a more protective thing to say about my soul.
It might be targeted though.
Not if you're in.
Okay, so that will be a future agenda item then, and I would look forward to a discussion like that, just so, because maybe that will bring up some of our thoughts on why we joined. And I know, for example, I had trails in mind, and that sort of ended up going on the back burner a bit before COVID, and then certainly during COVID. And so
get your stove ready because it's coming at you fast.
so everyone has something to bring to that. So we look forward to that.
We should have the consultant in place for the Parks and Open Space plan within a few weeks. So I would imagine beginning in
Okay.
May that we will be having working meetings involving that.
So Parks and Open Space plan is coming down the pipeline again.
Correct.
Okay. Any other thoughts from the staff front on future items?
No, there may be some additional playground bandwidth. I'm trying to encourage the finance department to give me some more money to do some playgrounds. First, I have to go ask the council.
Okay.
Too much.
Any final thoughts on future discussion items before we adjourn? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Let's do an adjournment of this meeting. Do I have a move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second. I beat you, Heather. All right, all those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.